The surge for the Harris-Walz campaign has left her Republican rival trying to find a new strategy to woo voters. And he's all over the place when it comes to reproductive rights. Take a look.
Under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women. 6 weeks, I've disagreed with that right from the early primaries. When I heard about it, I disagreed with it. At the same time, the Democrats are radical because the 9 months is just a ridiculous situation. I'll be voting no for that reason. She can't do an interview? It's been months. She can't. I just did an interview backstage. She was a very terrible person, but she was okay, actually. NBC fake news. It was NBC fake news. She asked me about all sorts of things. She asked me about abortion, and I handled it very nicely because you know what? That's so overplayed. We have abortion. We have the whole thing brought back into the states where it belongs. That's where everybody wanted it for years and years and years, and they're voting on it.
And are concerned about being able to have this option, either because they might not be able to afford it, or they're concerned that it just may not be available. And I'd love for you to talk to them about how they should feel.
Well, thank you very much, Tulsi. And I didn't know about your situation. And it's tough stuff, right? Tough. Life is pretty tough. It can be beautiful, but it can be difficult. We are doing something with IVF, because IVF, as you know from friends and people you know, it's really worked out very well for a lot of people. It gave them a child when they would not have had a child. And I told my people I wanted to look at this a couple of weeks ago. And as you know, we have no taxes on a thing called tips. You know that? And I said, tell me. We did three things. We did that, and we did no tax for seniors on Social Security benefits. We want to have that.
Looking at the women in the view, they're talking about the IVF and the abortion. You know, that law have been passed, and many people are rioting about the Republican supporting the abortion, the IVF. We only know that most states have already accepted that, and they are trying to make it legalized, that there will be no abortion, there will be no IVF, and there will be no and most women are rioting. Even Republican women are rioting. President Donald Trump came and talked about that 6 weeks is too small, because they were saying that if the pregnancy is more than 6 weeks, they will not commit the abortion. They gave a limit for that. So he came and said that at least it will be 24 weeks. He supported the 24 weeks. So the woman, and then they claim that the government insurance can cover 40,000 for the IVF. You know, before they will not even allow insurance to cover the IVF.
He also claimed that the 6-week span was too short. So how does this flip-flop gonna land with voters?
I generally say that, you know, sometimes people do have the memory of a gnat, right? They just forget, or they live in a bubble, they forget what happened. Who is going to forget that he is directly responsible for packing the Supreme Court with conservative judges?
He bragged about it.
And he is directly responsible for the Dobbs decision, which took away women's reproductive health rights in over 30 states. Who is going to forget that? And so I think they are underestimating his campaign, and he is underestimating that issue. I don't think people are single issue voters, but I do think that women are concerned about their freedoms being taken away from them.
My favorite thing is this IVF position, because what he said was that the insurance company should pay for it. All of a sudden, they were against it. They're for it now.
Yeah.
Even though, what's his name, J.D. Vance is against it.
Yeah.
He voted against it.
Voted against it. Yeah. So Trump says it's going to, and you know how much it costs? $40,000 is a typical IVF.
That's true.
About $20,000 per cycle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and the government will pay for it if the insurance companies will. That's their idea of what? That's called socialism. according to their definition of socialism. So Donald Trump is a Marxist.
I lost my mind when I heard this, because had he run in a Republican primary and said 6 weeks is too short, you need to have access to abortion longer, he wouldn't have won a Republican primary, because that's not the position of the party. Granted, it's helpful
So does
in
he
general.
lose his base with this or
So
not?
he is getting a lot of backlash from the pro-life.
You have to pay out of your cash, out of your own money. So now they want to bring a system that insurance now can cover the IVF. So that the Republicans are trying to do everything to please the public. So the women in their views were saying that all this backlash came because most of the Republicans are still like denied. How can they want to take control over a woman's body? Many women have died that they have complication pregnancy. What about in the because of ectopic pregnancy? Going to die if he has ectopic pregnancy because the doctor cannot in any way go ahead with the abortion. So the women in the view were saying that all this don't make sense. They have to allow those women to have control over their body. Women must not want to have all those children. The government is looking for a way that if you have multiple children, then you're going to rely on them for foster. For Section 8, your money cannot be enough to take care of your entire household, which is not the right one. So all this along go ahead, the women in the views were trying to say they want to stop all this scenario, and it's better for them to stop it in such an instances. So all this have been happening, and the women in the view were just they were just wow and trying to control every stability that is happening. Looking at everything that is happening, President Donald Trump is trying to look for a way to please the women. Even about IVF was very denied. So he trying to convince about accepting IVF. We all know that many people have their children out of IVF. Even somebody like Sonny there, Sonny has her babies out of IVF. If not of IVF, she could have not been a mother by now. She said she almost went bankruptcy because of IVF, because her husband was an intern, then not having too much money. She was a government worker, so it was not easy for them. So how would they have money to do all the stuff? So IVF, they had to borrow money from family members, and they had to do all such and to do all such in order to do the IVF for her to have the baby. And they did every possible means, and she had a lot of miscarriage, but finally she has a baby. There are a lot of women with that same story that if not of IVF, they could have not had that story. They could have not been parents. The joy of being a parents, they could have not even have it. So what actually do you think? Do you support that they should IVF should not be removed out of it? Women, if you cannot have children naturally, you should not have children. Do you also support, because they see someone like J.D. Vance is still in denial of IVF? Or do you accept the fact that women, abortion should not be taking place? They should not question women about abortion taking place. They should just allow the woman to have right of their body. Let me see your opinion on the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. If you are not subscribed, please help and subscribe and help share the video. God bless you.